Welcome, everyone. My apologies. It's 6:45. It was a lengthy Ways and Means Subcommittee meeting. So once again, we apologize for starting late. With that being said, let's please stand and salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the members. Councillor Cogliandro.
Here.
Here. Councillor Keefe.
Here.
Here. Councillor McKenna.
Here.
Here. Councillor Morabito.
Here.
Here. Councillor Novoselsky.
Here.
Here. Councillor Powers.
Here.
Here. Councillor Rizzo.
Here.
Here. Councillor Sereno is absent. Councillor Silvestri.
Here.
Here. Councillor Zambuto.
Here.
Here. And Council President Visconti.
Here.
Here. Quorum is present.
If I can interrupt and request the suspension of rules to take up orders number 10, 11, and 12. Thank you.
Calendar item number 10, communication from the Chief of Police for the purpose of presenting the fiscal year 2022 Justice Assistant Grant Program.
Councilors, good evening. Thank you
Welcome,
for
Chief.
hearing me this evening. And I just have a couple of matters to bring before you. I believe the first matter that was brought up by the clerk was the burn grant. I believe you want to speak about that, Madam Clerk, or is it the next item?
Whichever is easier. I guess you said you had staff here?
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you want to, okay. So we'll do calendar item number 11, communication from the
that's
Chief
fine.
of Police relative to a 5-year taser device purchasing agreement.
Councilors, we spoke about this before in past meetings, I believe during the budget time, that we were looking to enter into a 5-year, 60-month agreement with Axon Enterprises. They basically are the only company that offers tasers for the police department. And it's through all of the police reform and it's equipment that we really need. The equipment that we have now is currently outdated, and it's very outdated. The stuff we're going to enter into an agreement with Axon, and I have some of the representatives here. They were gracious enough to come. One of the gentlemen just got off a plane probably 4 hours ago. They came here, so if you have any questions, we have Sergeant Turner, who's our use of force instructor and does a lot of our training. These are items we just need, and it's we must have them. And we do have the funding. It's just that if it goes over 3 years, I have to bring it before you folks at the council for approval. And basically, some of the numbers, I think you folks may already have it. The amount every year is going to be $46,584.26 per year for 5 years, of a grand total of $232,921.16 for the life of the contract. It's all been done through the purchasing agent. They've researched everything, so everything has been done above boards and been researched and confirmed that we can do this contract. So with the council, if I could just get the item voted on, if you folks have any questions.
Councilor Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to the chief. I mean, I was hoping you were going to come up here and have some live demonstrations on some of the councilors, but it doesn't seem that that's what's happening tonight.
Were you going to be the first
We had to add a
counselor?
little levity tonight, right?
Counselor, were you going to be the first one?
Anthony's special, he knows what
Don't
he's
go
doing.
volunteering me,
We'll take
okay?
him
He was
down.
quiet.
Yeah. No, I did talk to a few of the, I saw this and I talked to a few people, and, one of the big things is, as you mentioned with police reform, but also making sure that these weapons are less lethal and more, a little bit more, I would say, humane. This seems to be in line with what we want to do when it comes to not, trying not to harm people, but also having enough stopping power to do the job. So it looks like that these are fully in line, and I would be supporting them. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. And then the most state-of-the-art devices, and the technology is up to date with all the latest innovation and everything else. So it's the best product on the market right now for us.
Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, that $46,584.26, will that be in a budget item every year during the term of the contract?
Yes. We're going to have it through capital
But
improvement.
it's not in this year's.
It should be.
So you already put it in for this year's budget?
I believe it was in conversation with the budget.
Okay, I have no problem, guys and gals in the force are terrific, bunch of good people. Unfortunately, we don't have enough.
Yes.
But I still have an issue with, getting things from my ward. And, I've talked to you before about this, and, I've asked for those speed limit machines.
With all due respect, we could probably talk about that with the burn grant. This is something that's different.
Whatever it takes, all I know is, I have one speed machine in Ward 2, and I've asked for at least 2 more, and I mentioned this to you in the budget time, so.
Those are items we had a conversation about, that there's other funding in the city, and I've spoken to other councilors, and maybe you and I can have a conversation and get on the same page about it. Because the police department doesn't have all the funding, but I think we can talk to the mayor and other people at City Hall.
If you want to talk about it in the burn program, we will.
Yes.
Thank you.
Counsel McKenna.
Chief, I would like to be in that conversation too, because I've requested in motions that we need more speed signs for Ward 1. So I would like to be in that conversation also with Councilor Novoselsky.
100%, because
Thank
I
you
know we've
very
had some
much.
conversations, and we
And
won't
I-
forget about anybody here in the
I
city.
think it was put in the budget to allow those speed signs to be purchased. So if, I know Councilor Novoselsky said that to me when I put the motion in. So hopefully it is in the budget, and you can take the money from the budget and purchase some.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll look at the budget numbers. I don't know if we have it there. Usually, we've paid for them out of grant money,
Okay,
and I know we had to get some other funding from another source to install them the last time, because it was
Right.
probably like 9,000 or
I know
9,500
it
to
cost a
install
lot
them.
of money to install
Yeah,
them.
it did. And I mean, it's labor intensive for them to put them in, pending where they put them.
Right.
But you absolutely can discuss it, and we'll find some funding.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other councils? Council Powers?
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief, are we talking about the signs that I have spoken with you regarding 1A North Shore Road, Mills Avenue, Rice Avenue, and also
Counsel.
Sagamore?
Council, we're talking about the
We're talking about speed
tasers.
signs,
No,
right?
we're talking about tasers right now,
Okay.
the tasers.
We're just talking about some items for the police department. The next thing, in a moment, we can talk about that with the speed
tasers.
signs.
That's coming up, okay?
Now-
If there,
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. President.
That's
Does
all.
anybody have a question? Because we have the representatives from Axon, from TASER here. So if you have any questions for them, they can answer any questions about the
Any-
product.
Any questions about the product? No? Thank you for attending. I guess if there are no other questions, then we'll vote on it. Yeah, roll call.
Pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30B, Section 12B, shall the City Council approve the 5-year contract between the City of Revere and Axon Enterprise, Inc. in the amount of $232,921.16. Counselor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor McKenna?
Yes,
Yes. Counselor Morabito?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Sereno is absent. Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, the contract has been approved. Calendar item number 10, communication from the Chief of Police for the purpose of presenting the fiscal year 2022 Justice Assistant Grant Program.
Yes, councilors. Currently now, we have a JAG grant that we put on for every year. It is a Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant. And this year, it's in the amount of $21,406. And this year, we're going to use it for different things, for domestic violence. There's going to be some other monies for, actually, do you councils, does everyone have the description for the Byrne grant? I made extra copies, so if you need it, everybody has it?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. And I'm sorry, I should have asked you initially. As mentioned, one of the goals of the proposed funding is to expand upon the prevention efforts of the department's domestic violence unit. And since the pandemic, March 2020, the department has seen a substantial increase in domestic violence cases. And I'll be honest, the numbers soared. Some of the domestics were up 40 to 50%. And that's a lot of people were kind of, stuck in the houses and forced to quarantine. And it caused a lot of stress on the department. And the department is in a partnership with the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, Harbor Cove, and the local victim service and agencies that believe that the extent of the domestic violence within the city of Revere warrants specific attention and requires a coordinated approach to hold offenders accountable for their actions and to protect the victims. The department is planning to utilize 4 to 5 current officers on an overtime basis to help provide additional manpower and resources to the domestic violence unit. Specifically, the department will purchase the following equipment. We're going to purchase some Nikon cameras, Coolpix cameras, and a tripod for the domestic violence office. They're going to superficial trauma declaration cards to frame a reference for identification of specific colors present from different injuries that a victim may have. And this is so the officers can visually compare and record their observations. We'll also utilize some of the funds for the overtime costs for the domestic violence units to conduct in-person follow-ups. That's days, nights, weekends, off hours where there may not be someone from the domestic violence office available. Attend training and participate in monthly staff meetings to follow up on the cases and the dispositions and provide transportations to court or other safe places for victims and to provide other educational materials for them. We're also going to update the department website with domestic violence resources that are available to victims of abuse. These updates will also engage the public by creating awareness and also provide information on how to access assistance and services in a confidential manner within the local community. In addition, the proposed funding will be utilized for domestic violence outreach, brochures, educational materials, and to cover training costs for domestic violence unit in one training for the 5 officers. And the training is to be determined. When we can find the training for them that's applicable to what we need, we'll send them to it. Now, also, the police department is going to use these funds to increase community engagement and outreach in our efforts in the community. The department will support overtime costs for the sworn officers so they can conduct and participate in community outreach engagement activities such as we have a student boxing club that's been doing very well. We have a Citizens of Police Academy, Youth Academy, National Night Out. We have crime watch meetings, honor guard events, bike patrols, walking routes, community and school events, as well other community outreach engagements and activities. And these will further the department's current community policing efforts. The department will also purchase outreach educational material to be distributed at these events in the likes of 1,000 different books, educational activity books that we can put out, and some of them are going to be bilingual. We'll have another 1,000 of those, different magnets with the numbers for the police department and 911, and we're going to purchase about 4,000 custom shields for the children. And then there's another 1,000 guides for crime prevention. And also, it should be noted that the certifications and insurances by the chief executive of the applicant government forms will be conducted and submitted once a presentation to the city council has been made within 30 days and has passed for the government body notification. So after you folks approve this, we'll put it before, we'll send it back to the state so we can have the money.
On this, I believe is there a vote needed on this? There's no vote needed on this, so this is going to be placed on file.
Yes.
Great.
And just mandated we bring this before the council.
Great.
Thank you.
Calendar item number 12, communication from the Election Commissioner relative to the state warrant for the state
Thank you, Chief.
election on November 8th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Paul Fahey, Election Commissioner. This is the warrant that you always receive prior to the election. All the polling places are the same. I know we had a discussion at the last meeting. We'll be considering some polling location changes in 2023, but in the interest of consistency for this election, nothing has really changed. The warrant outlines everything that's on the ballot. I'll just mention briefly that we've started early voting. I want to thank, Mr. President, you and the council and the city clerk for their assistance. We've used this room for early voting. I also want to thank the DPW because you wouldn't know it other than the voting booths in the back. They did a great job kind of getting the room back into meeting shape, but it's a nice room to have the early voting, and we've had comments from a number of residents who have never been in this room, and they really liked it. They were looking at some of the pictures and they enjoyed it. So happy to answer any questions, but just looking for your approval of the warrant.
Any questions from the council?
Yeah, they did.
Hearing and seeing none. Roll call? Oh, we don't, oh, okay, thank you. No, yeah, it's been accepted. Oh, yeah, all in favor, all opposed? So ordered. Sorry about that. Back to the regular order of business.
Approval of the journal of the regular meeting of October 17th.
So move.
Public hearings, calendar item number 3, hearing called as ordered on a petition submitted by National Grid to install an underground electrical conduit to pole 1577 on Campbell Ave near the intersection of Revere Beach Parkway, Revere, Mass.
Proponents. We're going to start off with proponents. Those in favor. Name and address for the record. Push the button.
Alex Glanville. I'm here in representing National Grid.
Push it again. Keep it on. There you go.
You can hear me now?
Yes?
Okay. So yeah, this conduit, it'll be in support of the HYM Suffolk Downs development, which is a large development, and this conduit is needed to support the load for that development.
Okay. All right. Any other proponents?
There's an additional pole that's being petitioned. I don't know if you want to group these together or if we vote separately for them, but I believe it's the one after this.
National Grid submitted it as 2 different petitions.
Yeah, so we'll take them up separately.
Okay.
So on this, any proponents? Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that side. Any opponents? Anybody opposed? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side. Councilors? Any councilors? Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this corner of Campbell Ave and Revere Beach Parkway is in my ward, and I just have a general issue with National Grid. Nothing against you yourself, but National Grid has done nothing to appease the neighbors and the councilors up here of what's been going on in the city of Revere. And right now, I know HYM are great people and you're working to do that, but right now you're totally destroying the roadways and the sidewalks of the city of Ward 1 and Ward 2. And I know I'm just so totally disgusted with what National Grid, and I will not vote for this. I will not vote for any other of those other things that Railroad Street, the new pole, the underground. I will not vote for those. I'm totally against National Grid now until they show some good faith. So that's my play. Thank you.
I first wanted to go with Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. President. With all due respect to my colleagues, we bite our nose off to spite our face here. We can have a separate meeting with National Grid, put some pressure on them to fix these roadways, but please don't hurt the developers and the businesses that are going to give us the growth in the future here. Let's be realistic about what we do. Let's not single out National Grid because they're not doing the right thing. Let's give the people what they need, give the citizens and the businesses what they need, and let's work with National Grid to put some pressure on them. Now, I know Dan Cameron's not there any longer, but there's a new person there. Let's put some pressure on them separately from this. Let's not deny progress. Thank you.
Council Powers, and then I'll go. Council Powers.
Thank you, Mr. President. I certainly am not one to deny progress in the city, never have in the city council chamber. But, sir, I'd like to just show you something, if you would.
You want me to come up here?
Yeah, please.
Why don't you didn't want to get...
Would you say that's a positive, or is that a chance for some serious injuries?
Yeah, definitely. I think what happened there, or do you want me to?
Yeah, go back.
Well, I know what happened. It hasn't been, it's been like that for a month. I know what happened.
Do you mind if I speak?
No,
Good evening, my
no,
name's...
let him speak.
So I think what happened there in that specific picture is the process of construction is they put that new pole in, and they're going to need to transfer the conductors over to that new pole. So that should just be temporary.
Well, it should have been fixed a long time ago, I think, okay?
Okay.
Not, temporary doesn't work for me.
Okay.
There's a 2x3 piece of wood holding that pole from falling onto the B&M tracks. There's 3 large transformers on that pole, which makes it more heavy and more apt to fall into the tracks.
Yep.
Not only fall into the tracks, but fall on vehicles in the Bell Circle area. I'd like you to take this back to your supervisor, whoever that may be, and let us know when this is going to be corrected. Because I'm not voting for anything for National Grid until that happens, now or in the future. Thank you.
I can pass that along.
Council McKenna.
Thank you. I'm not in favor of anything by National Grid, and I'll tell you why. For 3 months, National Grid has been tearing up Winthrop Ave, okay? It was a Friday, everybody wanted to leave. There's 16 plates on Winthrop Ave, starting from Toretta's all the way down to the beach, and it's got nothing to do with you. It's got to do with National Grid. And what happened was, it was a Friday, they wanted to leave, okay? So they just took the asphalt out of the truck and put it around the plate to secure the plate. But they didn't secure the asphalt, and they didn't roll it. So the asphalt was everywhere. It was on people's property, on the sidewalks, on the streets. Cars were rolling over it, down the street, up the street. So I called the supervisor. He said, we're having a problem with cold patch. Well, it was 70 degrees out. So how can they have a problem with cold patch? They didn't roll it. They wanted to get out of there, okay? So, Councilor Zambuto, I was on a Zoom call for 2.5 hours with the regional manager in Tammy who took over Dan Cameron's place. She set it up. I asked him for curb to curb for 2 blocks, because the plates were making noise at night, residents couldn't sleep, okay, because the plates weren't securely down, okay? There was asphalt everywhere. I mean, it was disgusting. And I went to the regional manager, and this is what he said to me. The cold patch didn't set. Well, it was 70 degrees. How can you use cold patch during the winter? So anyways, I said, can you do curb to curb for 2 blocks where these people were inundated with the lack of quality of life? He said no. He said no. No. And I was so nice. You know what I did? The next best thing, or the best thing in this whole city, I called Donnie Chimella, okay? And I said, Donnie, this is ridiculous. The people are complaining, their quality of life, they can't even sleep because people are going over their plates and they're making these noises. Asphalt is everywhere. I said, they're not doing the job. I could use a word, but I'm not going to. It was a crap show. Okay? Donnie Chimella went down there Friday, had a conversation with the site supervisor that said, you gotta go to the regional manager. I can't make this decision, okay? So he goes down, he talks to him. Guess what? Winthrop Ave in the fall, from Toretto's to Short Beach will be paved curb to curb. Okay, so that's where I should have went in the first place, but I was trying not to go underneath the spectrum, going to the top, and I got nothing. He was so, he talked to me like I was 5 years old. Well, we really can't do that, and we can't do that because other residents will get mad, and this is what it is. I said, well, what about the residents? So I went to the top. I went to the regional manager and got nothing.
I wish I
Thank
was
you.
with you.
Thank you, thank you, Council McKenna.
I'm sorry, I get
That's okay. That's okay. That's all right. Thank God we're not cutting any trees. Can Council Cogliani?
That's getting old.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am so sorry you walked into a wood chipper tonight. Is this your first time here?
It is.
Congratulations. Okay, so I agree with my fellow ward councilors. I've seen porta potties left by subcontractors. I've seen generators. I've seen trucks. I've seen cones with pieces of plow laying around. We don't need that stuff. And again, I hate to even look you in the eyes. I feel so bad. I'm sorry. I know it's not your fault, but I will not support another thing until National Grid starts treating Revere properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Cogliani. Council Rizzo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Yeah, so I've been on the city council for quite some time, and there's been people up here before you. Poor Dan Cameron, I can see why he's retired now. I don't blame him. But I've never fully agreed with, everyone's got their pet projects, and this is no disrespect to any of my colleagues. Councilor Powers was showing you a picture of something that he's concerned about. Councilor Novoselsky has something he's concerned about. Councilor McKenna's got something. Everyone's got something, right? We all want to see all the problems get resolved, but in reality, what are we doing by holding up development projects? We sat here, and this is really no concern of yours, talking about, spending hundreds of millions of dollars based on income we're going to get from Suffolk Downs, and we're saying, hold on, we don't want to put, let's not let them continue because we want to get a double pole down. I mean, there's got to come a point where, let's have a separate meeting and talk about what needs to be done in the city, but like I think Councilor Zambuno might have said, let's not cut off our nose to spite our faces. I'm going to support your it doesn't sound like you're going to have the votes tonight, but I'm going to support it because, I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I think we can actually move forward with a project and actually address issues that councilors have problems with. So that's where I stand, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Council Rizzo. Council Maravito.
Thank you. Did you say this is to provide electrical for HYM development?
Yes, correct.
So each and every one of us on the council, except maybe one or two maybe, have spoken about how great the development at Suffolk Down is going to be. We always pitch how all the pros of the development, how much it's going to help the economy, and now we have them coming up here for an electoral conduit, and we're going to vote them down. It just doesn't make sense. I will be voting in favor of this. To hold back development on a site that everyone is gung-ho about is pathetic.
Thank you, Council Maravito. Councilor Silvestri.
Thank you, Mr. President. And gentlemen, I will vote for this because I don't believe in holding projects up, but I think you can see the seriousness of the issue that's becoming with the polls. And last week I put a motion in to speak with someone from National Grid about the rising costs the residents will be facing this winter. So I think this might be something that we can put in for a separate meeting. But I appreciate you coming here tonight, but hopefully you can bring back the sentiment of the council and let them know that we're just not happy. Thank you.
Councilor Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Like a few of my other councilors, I'm speaking on all together. ultimately, I feel the same way. I want to hold you accountable. I want to hold National Grid. It's actually more often gas than it is electric for me, but accountable, and we do. But just last weekend, I went down to the Cambridge Health Alliance site near Walgreens, and they're going to be building where the Moose was. And the person who runs it over there, he's a Revere resident, I'm not gonna use his name, but he said, hey, can you come down? I have Moses from National Grid. He wants to take a look at where they need to put a pole to add the additional supply for the addition to Cambridge Health Alliance. And I agreed to do it, and I said to Moses, I said, I wanna say no to you because I'm so mad, like Councilor McKenna and a few others, with some of the responsiveness you had, but I'm not gonna hold up this person in Cambridge Health Alliance on the good that it's gonna do to the community. So I can't say yes and then no. So I will be supportive of these because it helps an actual resident or it helps an actual business. But I will say that I think that from a council standpoint, we clearly have some aggression we need to get out, and I think that we should probably establish a formal way to do this so that we can hold them more accountable, rather than, and not hurt the citizens or the business owners of the city. Thank you.
Okay. With that being said, Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you for your levity, Mr. President. Mr. President, this particular job is not going to hold up anything on National Grid because they have so much more to do after the fact. This is a small connection that they want to do, if I'm correct, on a new manhole that they put in right at that same location. But, you know, I don't want to shoot it down, but what I would like to see it go into a committee, into Public Works, until such time that we get a solid commitment from National Grid that they're going to do some work in the city of Revere. We had streetlights changed 4 years ago, and I'm still waiting for lamps to be changed that are still under the old lumens. Disgusting. That's one issue. When they do double poles and they take the pole out, they don't repair the sidewalks around the pole. It's still dirt there. They don't pour the concrete back. You know, my people look at that stuff. I have tie downs that were put in 4 years ago in one pole, and they never connected it on Nahant Avenue. These are things that honestly piss us off. And I don't mind saying it because it really upsets us. And we need some action other than what you guys want to make you guys look good because you're not helping us at all. So I would ask that this be put into Public Works Committee until such time that someone can get here and give us a commitment of when some of these things are going to get done. Thank you.
Okay. With that being said, then I agree. We'll put this in public.
If you don't mind, I just want to speak. I just want to make some
Go ahead.
clarifications, and I do apologize. My name is Adel Wahed Nabat. I'm with National Grid Electric at 170 Medford Street in Malden. And, Mr. Councilman, with all due respect, I was a Revere resident before joining National Grid, and I would see the poles the same way you saw them, the double poles. But I came to the understanding that the poles that are installed in the public way, 99% of the time, they are joint ownership poles, which means that National Grid puts the poles, and if pole is damaged or needs replacement due to aging, the poles get removed by Verizon. Now, we do have an engine which requires the transfer of wires from top to bottom, and it happens to be that National Grid is usually the top. And when we do install a double pole, we're removing our equipment, and it has to go through an engine. Sometimes the engine is held up by the city. Sometimes we have to transfer the wire that for the fire department needs to transfer. Sometimes the lighting needs to change. Most of the poles that are owned by National Grid and owned also by Verizon, it is left out for Verizon since they're the last wire to get transferred. That is the reason why you may see double poles. However, we do understand your frustration, and I would like to pass along my contact. And if you know of poles in any locations, I will be happy to work with you, as well as Verizon, to try to have these poles removed, these double poles. They look ugly, I agree with you. We're not happy with them either, but we do our best as we work in the engine. As far as the conduits installation and tearing up the roads and open up the public ways, like Councilman Patrick had mentioned, these are mostly National Grid gas, not National Grid electric. However, because we fly under the same flag, we do understand the frustration, and we do appreciate that working with you guys and letting us know about these locations, and we can hire our civil contractors to go out there and do the cleanup. We ask that whenever you see something is to let us know. Our engineers are open to speaking with you whenever you guys are, have a concern or anything like that. But I just want to make something clarified. We, National Grid Electric, we pull cables, we don't install conduits. If they are owned by the customer gets a permit and opens up the road and is responsible for restoring the sidewalks. But that doesn't help seeing the ugly, teared up sidewalks, and we would like to work with the city and try to fix this problem moving forward.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Council Cogliandro.
Sir, we do our due diligence, and the people call us more than anyone, and we've been on the phone with you guys. We have. We've tried to talk to you about this outside of these chambers. We don't want to have to do this here. Okay, so to tell us that engineers and so-and-so is available, I've been on three-way calls with people, with the DPW as well. You know, so please don't downplay it. This is a very serious matter. We would not be discussing it here if it hadn't got to a point where we're boiling over here. Okay, and yeah, I said that. You got.
We're gonna put this in committee.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I think there's further discussion to have on this. Obviously, you can see how upset our councilors are, and hopefully that relationship can be restored, which is having an open line of communication to try to help the residents. We are representing the residents, so you saying no to us is basically saying no to the residents, and that's a problem. So let's move forward and put this in Public Works. Thank you.
Calendar item number 4, hearing called as ordered on a petition submitted by National Grid. And this is, to relocate a pole on Campbell Avenue in accordance with the plan on file. The agenda was incorrect.
Okay. Proponents?
This is in relation to the conduit that would be installed. So
Name and address again for the record.
Alex Glanville, with Leidos representing National Grid. This is, once again, on Campbell Ave, the corner of Campbell Ave and Revere Beach Parkway. The pole 1577, which is the new install, would be to support the conduit for the riser. And then the pole 1576, which would need to be moved back, is needing to be moved back so that it does not get in the way of the conduit, and then to properly guide the structure.
Okay. Are there any questions from the council? Seems to be similar from the last one. Is there any other proponents? Are there any proponents? Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side. Any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side. Councilors?
Mr. President.
Ditto, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you, Council Cogliano, Councilor Novoselsky. Councilor Zambudo.
Mr. President, I hope you reconsider this. I think you're making a mistake holding this stuff up. I really do. You know.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way.
Well, okay. I just want to put it on the record that I'm against what you're doing. Okay.
I appreciate
All right. Thank
that.
you very much.
Thank you. There are other councilors that have asked to put it in committee, and I understand your concerns, but, you know, let's call it what it is. They have to be represented as well. So let's put this in subcommittee as well. Public Works. Thank you.
Calendar item number 5, hearing called as ordered on a joint petition submitted by National Grid and Verizon to install one jointly owned pole P32981 on the sidewalk in front of 1510 North Shore Road.
Any proponents?
Hi, my name is Adel Wahed Nabat, 170 Medford Street, Malden. Just want to clarify, this is a customer job. It's for the customer at 1500 North Shore Road to install a pole at their property in the public way to feed this new building that's coming up on 1500 North Shore Road.
Any other proponents? Hearing? Yep.
Nico DeCesare, 596 Revere Beach Boulevard, my brother.
Anthony DeCesare, same address, 596 Revere Beach Boulevard. We're the owners of the property. We're obviously in support. The city's given us approvals for this project. We're virtually done with it. We just need to get powered up, and hopefully we can get the vote.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side. Any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that side.
Mr.
Councilors?
President, Mr.
Yes.
President. Mr. President, again, this is in my ward on North Shore Road between Shirley Ave and Beach Street. And I did meet with Moses down at this location a couple weeks ago. And, you know, I want this one to go through because this is direct power to buildings that are being constructed right now and one for future. So it's going to handle two different locations, and I would like to see this thing go through. Thank you.
Council Maravito.
Yeah, I also spoke to the person of this residency or commercial residency. I am in favor of this, as I am the other two. I would really ask that you reconsider the other two from being in committee, because if we're voting on this, voting this one through, we should vote out the other. There's no reason why to keep any of them in subcommittee.
Thank you. Thank you, Council Maravito. Council Zambudo?
Obviously, I'm in support of this, as I was on all the others, but this is certainly one particular customer needs the power to finish that project. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is, now we're being selective as to what projects we approve for National Grid. I mean, this makes no sense to me. We're either gonna be mad at National Grid and they get nothing. And by the way, you know, I mean, like, you know, the DeCesare family, they've been nothing but a credit to this city. And they deserve our vote here tonight. But why are we holding, we can't have principle on one vote and not on another. We either have principle on all votes.
Okay.
You know, so to me, if this is gonna be approved, there's no reason why we can't go back and approve the prior request that National Grid had to get powered to HYM. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other, I'm gonna, you know, based on that, okay, Madam Clerk, can we take, what I'd like to do is take a roll call on the last two.
Okay, so the city council would need to vote to rescind their decision or reconsider.
Okay. Okay.
But if everyone's in favor of reconsideration.
Is everybody in favor of reconsideration?
No.
Take a roll call on that, please.
Are we first voting on this
On
particular
the
poll?
reconsideration first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because if we're gonna vote on all, this one, we're gonna vote on all three.
Shall the city council reconsider calendar item numbers 3 and 4 regarding electrical conduit installations near Campbell Avenue and for the relocation, pole relocation on Campbell Avenue? Councilor Cogliandro?
No.
No. Councilor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
No,
No. Councilor Morbido?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
No.
No. Councilor Powers?
No.
No. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Sereno is absent. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Visconti?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Reconsideration fails.
You need it. Okay. Okay. We'll vote, roll call on this.
Let me just write this down. Sorry. Do you want to take a roll? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Roll call for this petition for
Yes.
1510? Okay. Shall the city council grant the petition of National Grid and Verizon to install a jointly owned pole at 1510 North Shore Road in accordance with the plan on file? Councilor Cogliandro?
No.
No. Councilor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
yes,
Yes. Councilor Morbido?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
No.
No. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Sereno is absent. Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes, and Counsel President Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, that petition is granted. Calendar item number 6, hearing called as ordered on a petition submitted by National Grid to install an underground electrical conduit from proposed new pole P3298-1 at 1510 North Shore Road to 1499 North Shore Road.
Proponents? Those in favor?
Hi, Del Wahed Nabat, 170 Medford Street, Malden. This is, again, the same project. It's customer-driven. This is the conduit side of it.
Okay. Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none? Yes. Come to the podium.
Nico DeCesare, 596 Revere Beach Boulevard. So 1499 is not our property. We're 1510, but this is a joint pole. I believe this is for 1499. Yeah, this is for 1510 or for 1499?
For both, I believe.
Okay, yeah, so we're a joint pole. It serves both
It
purposes.
runs,
So
yes.
1499 is not our property. We're 1510, but this is a joint pole. We're in favor for our neighbor across the street. He's also going to need power, and it helps to get it done faster. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
For the record, Anthony DeCesare, 596 Revere Beach Boulevard. He said it perfectly.
Thank you. Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side. Any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side. Counselors, can we just take, let's take a roll call?
Roll call.
Roll call?
I'm sorry, shall the City Council grant the petition of National Grid to install an underground electrical conduit on North Shore Road in accordance with the plan on file? Counselor Cogliandro?
No.
No. Counselor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Morabito?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Powers?
No.
No. Counselor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Sereno is absent. Counselor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Counselor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Counsel President Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been granted. Calendar item number 7, hearing called as ordered on a petition submitted by National Grid to excavate the public highways and to run and maintain underground electrical conduits together with such sustaining and protecting fixtures for the transmission of electricity. Said underground conduits are to be located on Railroad Street, Revere, Mass, in accordance with the plan on file.
Proponents, name and address.
Alex Glanville, Leidos, representing National Grid. This is also in support of the HYM development in Suffolk Downs. This conduit would be used for substation communication between the Revere 7 substation and the Winthrop substation.
Okay. All right. Any other proponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side. Any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, we're going to close that side. Councilors. Council McKenna.
Thank you. I represent Railroad Street, and I just want to know what side. Is it going to be on the Revere Beach side, or is it going to be inside Railroad Ave where Durant Paint is?
Do you have the attachment for this, or?
I don't find it, so just, you can show me. Oh. Because if they're cutting up, okay, it looks like it's inside of Railroad Street. If they're cutting Revere Beach Parkway, because Railroad Street goes after the bridge, and there's just a little unit, a little road there, and I know you all know where it is, but it's off of Revere Beach Parkway. If they're going to be cutting up Revere Beach Parkway, I am not in favor of this until they can get their quality of workmanship together. But if you're doing it on the other side where it's not going to impact traffic or anything, I'll be in favor of it.
Can you answer that?
Thank you.
Wait.
So, did the drawing not answer your question fully?
Could you answer it for her?
I'm sorry, could you repeat it again?
I said looks like it's on the other side of Revere Beach Parkway. So there is a bridge here, and there's
Yep.
Railroad Ave here and Railroad Ave here. Okay? If it was on the Revere Beach Parkway side, I would be against it. But it seems like with your map, it looks like it's on the other side, which it will not affect traffic or residents. So I'm in favor of it. That's what okay?
Okay.
Is that, so you okay? Okay. Any other councilors?
Roll call.
Mr. President.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor
Mr. President,
Novoselsky,
if I'm correct, this structure that they're putting in is coming in out of the solar panels near Durant Paint?
I don't know if it's coming directly from the solar panels.
That's where Wharf Street is.
Are the solar panels right by the Revere 7 substation? Because this manhole 20 is right outside of that. Okay, then yes, correct?
Am I correct?
I believe so, if what I had just stated is correct.
So what they have to do is they have to dig up that whole roadway, and you have businesses in back there, that you're going to be disturbing and disrupting during that construction.
I wouldn't
So-
say it's a whole roadway, it's 45 feet of it, but
Well, it's right where, wherever that structure is that they have to put in on the ground. They have to dig up that hole, and the roadway is not that wide. It's not a normal roadway. And you have the railroad tracks coming across one location. So again, let the council do what they want, but, again, unless something happens with this, that the businesses, are given some kind of adequate notice, when you're going to do it, to let them know, because you have, I think, 3 or 4 businesses back there that have heavy trucking going there. So, again,
Okay.
I still have an issue with National Grid, as you know, and, I'd like to move that it be put in committee.
All right. Councilor McKenna.
It seems like the ward councilors are against National Grid this is what it seems like to me, and the councilor at large is, and I'm not trying to say anything fresh. I'm just saying that I don't know if the councilors at large understand the brunt that the ward councilors get. I feel like we're in the trenches, and you guys are on the horses and saying charge, and we're running out to fight the fight. So it just seems to me with all the conversation tonight that all the ward councilors are against this and all the councilors at large are for this. So
Thank you.
that's it.
Thank you, Councilor McKenna. Councilor Rizzo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'll just be very brief. And you know what, Councilor McKenna, I totally understand where she's coming from, because they're the first line of defense. We have the luxury of being councilors at large, and so oftentimes, we get calls, don't get me wrong, we get plenty of phone calls, but when it has to do with a local, unique issue to that ward, the ward councilors do get saddled with it. I guess, and I know I can't speak for all of my colleagues that are at large, but, they're kind of apples and oranges. I mean, unless we're expecting HYM and Bob O'Brien to live by candlelight, they're gonna need electricity at some point. So we're gonna need to bring power, whether or not, are we gonna resolve all of our problems before we grant you the authority to bring power to the site? I don't know. Do you have to be more responsive to the needs of the ward councilors and the needs of the residents? Absolutely. I mean, they all have documentation as to why they're voting no in these particular cases. I just differ, where I differ, Mr. President, with the ward councilors, is that these are two separate issues. It's not like National Grid somehow is gonna say, oh, all right, well, we're gonna come and fix every problem you have, and then you allow us to go forward. That's just not gonna happen. I mean, I don't know what the next step is going to be, but, I just think holding up projects that have already been approved does not make sense, notwithstanding whether I support the project or not.
I agree.
I mean, the project is going there, it needs power.
It needs power.
So, that's all I have, Mr. President.
I agree. Councilor Zambudo.
Thank you, Mr. President. With all due respect to my colleague, I love Joanne. We care just as much about Beachmont as we do about Ward 6. So I know I do. I care about every single constituent. And like my colleague, Council Rizzo, we don't want to see progress impeded. And there's always two ways to get something done, just like building this high school. I completely disagree where it's going, but that isn't going to make any difference because I don't have the votes to stop it. But the bottom line is I still want a high school. I just happen to want it where it was going.
Right now.
Point of,
We're going to get to the high school.
Point of
eventually.
personal
Anyway,
privilege.
Hold on,
I just
hold on,
wanted
hold on,
I'm
hold on. That's
I'm responding to my
Okay,
call.
yes,
That-
I understand.
Now I'll get back on the.
Point of personal privilege.
All right, go ahead.
Yes.
4 years ago, Councilor Zambudo, you were on the committee, this committee, that we put a moratorium on National Grid because they wouldn't fix, we asked them 4 years to fix Fury's Market, to just change the line. They wouldn't do it because he was losing his meat, if you remember. And what happened was, we put a moratorium on it, this council, I don't know who was sitting on this council at the time, and they got it done. Guess what? They got it done the next week. I think we need to hold.
And I was involved in the conversations that helped that get done.
Yes, and listen, I give you all the credit, but I'm just saying that we did do this at some point, and I was on the council, and they got it done right away after asking 4 years for it.
Great. Thank you. Council Maravito?
Thank you. So I'm going to make believe I'm writing a letter. Dear ward councilors, I appreciate all you do. And I understand that you get a lot of the brunt of the calls. I do get a lot of calls. I went to Disney last week and my mailbox is full. So I do get a lot of calls, but not to the extent where, for instance, if someone comes to us with an issue, the ward councilor wants to be notified by the at-large councilor if there is an issue. So it goes both ways. Like we do the due diligence and the courtesy. We give the ward councilors the courtesy when someone comes to bring something to our attention, and it's in your ward, we do let you know. And we do appreciate you for the calls you take, but perception is everything. We can't be up here when there's 5 items on the agenda presented by National Grid, and then we vote for 2 of them and then not vote for the other 5. That's not making a point or making a stance. That's making us look, the word again, it makes us look non-transparent.
Thank you, Councilor Maravito. Councilor Cogliandro.
I just want to say one thing, that anybody up here or in this room want a porta potty next to their house for 2 weeks that they're not using personally? Porta potty or a truck? You might, he doesn't, listen, and I just want to say that I appreciate, I agree with a lot of what Councilor Rizzo said and Councilor Zambudo, but something needs to be done. And Councilor McKenna, I'm glad you brought up 4 years ago about Fiore's Market, because Councilor Guanasso was here again, and I stated this before, and he put his foot down. He said, I'm not going to vote on another thing for National Grid until they fix that. So this is nothing personal. This isn't emotionally charged. It's to help the people in this city. Thank you.
All right. With that being said, we'll take a roll call on this.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I motion to move it to DPW committee.
I know. I'm going to put a roll call. Thank you.
Shall the City Council grant the petition of National Grid to install an underground electrical conduit on Railroad Street in accordance with the plan on file? Councilor Cogliandro.
No.
No. Councilor Keefe?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
No, this is the roll call.
No.
No. Councilor Powers?
No.
No. Councilor Rizzo?
Either. Yes, vote for it.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Sereno is absent. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo?
Yes.
Yes. And Council President Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, the petition has been granted. Calendar item number 8, hearing called is ordered on the application of Mario Zapage, 78 Mill Street, Middleton, Mass., requesting a special permit in accordance with Section 17.16.040 of the revised ordinances of the City of Revere to enable the appellant to raise the existing single-family structure and construct 2 townhouse dwellings at 355 Mountain Avenue.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Mario Zapage. I'm here for 355 Mountain Ave. Right now, there are 2 lots. One is in the left, which has a small existing home. There's going to be a tear down. And the other lot is 6,000 square feet with 40 feet of frontage, 150 feet long. By right, the zoning allowed 2 two-family homes. So basically, it's going to be the same number of units, some number of parking, 8 parking spots. We're going to plant 8 trees. There's going to be beautiful sidewalks, curbing. How many trees? 8. Can you double that? Why not? I love her.
Okay.
But I think the requirements for this is minimum lot size 10,000 square feet, but if I combine both lots, it's like 13,650 square feet. And the ordinance also states that you need a minimum of 3,000 square feet per unit, so it comes to 12,000, so I already got that 13,650 square feet.
Okay.
And the neighborhood there, it's all townhouses, it's beautiful, so we'll match the neighborhood, you know?
Okay.
And I'll be in and out there really fast, so.
All right. Thank you. Any other proponents? Hearing any proponents?
Yeah, Joe DeRusa.
Come on up, please.
Joe DeRusa, 18 Blaney Street.
Okay.
Okay, I'm here, one of my good friends, Rocco Conti, at 361 Mountain, which is the abutter.
Okay.
Also accepts this proposal.
Is in favor?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Any other proponents? That's okay. If you're in favor of it, are you in favor of it?
I had a few questions. I'm a mother and I have my child, and the property is literally behind my
Okay.
property.
Are you in favor, of the, okay, all right, relax. This is gonna go to zoning. Yes, all right, let's, I'm gonna have you sit, if you don't mind taking a seat, one moment.
Yeah.
And why don't we go through the public hearing first, and then we can, answer your questions, how's that? Thank you. All right, that being said, if there are no other proponents, let's, close that side. Any opponents? Those opposed? Here, oh, come on up. Name and address for the record.
Laurie and Dennis, 347 Mountain Ave, right next to the property.
Okay.
And I'm not completely opposed to having development, but the property has been deserted for over 20 years. And a lot of the trees, especially the sumac in the back corner, has been falling on my property virtually every 2 years. And 2 years ago, it was close enough that it tipped the edge of the gutter on my barn, which is in the back. And I'm not opposed to having development since it's been, you know, obviously I can't stop the city from developing and granting licenses, but a townhouse is not exactly what I would like to see. When I bought my house, my realtor sent me there and I looked at it and I thought to myself, it looks like an old farmhouse, like the ones where I was raised in rural Maine. And so I purchased the property and I've been trying to maintain it and keep some kind of elements and add more character to it to keep it looking like that, after I found out that the area was called Revere Farms once upon a time. And it appears that when I had purchased the property, there were 3 barns along Mountain Ave. Now there are only 2. One of them is just packed with junk, and mine, even though it doesn't have a barn door yet, I installed a standing seam metal roof recently and had to beg the previous owner to remove one branch that was massive on that same sumac that was dangling, you know, very, very close to the barn. And so I doubt that I can prevent the development, but I would like to see more character in the building that is put there. And if it's townhouses, I can't stop what people are going to do, but they could add character that would give it something to maintain a little bit of that Revere Farms. And the previous owner had also basically paved both sides of the house and 3/4 of the backyard. I have removed all of that, well, not all, but a lot of it in the backyard, and have put in white birch trees, bushes, and flowers, and have made it look a little bit better.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilor McCallum.
may I say something? Sir, I didn't get your name.
We
Oh,
haven't we
no, but I
haven't-
want to ask him what he
Yeah,
needs.
well, let's finish this, and then we're gonna get to the councils. Thank you. With that being said, this is gonna go to zoning.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe that's a discussion you can have with the developer and see what the plans are. Plans, I'm not sure if the plans are in here or not. I believe they are, so.
Well, they sent me a letter
Okay.
stating that I could attend the
Yes.
public hearing.
Absolutely.
And provided the info.
Great.
And, you know.
What I would recommend doing is coming to zoning and voicing your concerns at the zoning subcommittee. And then before that gets voted out, it's going to get voted out in zoning. Right now, we appreciate you taking the time and coming out and voicing your opinion, but there's not going to be a vote tonight on it. I think it's something that you should actually come to the zoning subcommittee and voice your concerns.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other opponents? Hearing and seeing none, what I'd like to do is, we're going to close that side, because I'm not sure if you're opposed or in favor. So if you have some questions, sure.
Yeah, I guess it
Go
will
right
be
ahead. Go right ahead.
My
What
name
are
is
your
Jessica Coran. I live in the property of 294 Proctor Ave, so their property is basically behind mine.
Okay.
But I'm guessing I will go to the zoning as well and voice my opinions, because it's really regarding about the safety, because my child loves going outside. Obviously, the debris that's gonna be coming is unavoidable.
Absolutely.
So-
I think you should also come to the zoning subcommittee, make sure you voice your concerns, so we can put that, any restrictions.
How do we get that information? Like, where do we go to?
Yes, you can call the city's clerk's office or check the city website
Okay.
when the zoning subcommittee will be here. Yes, Council Keith.
Well, Mr. President, thank you. This is obviously a public hearing, so voicing your concern is really important tonight. This will go to zoning subcommittee, which happens to be,
Your committee.
I'm the chair, and this also happens to be my neighborhood, my ward. I live off Mountain Ave as well. And so I can tell you just a couple things in regarding the property. Mr. Dennis, I'm really happy that you're restoring your property, what you want it to be, and adding character to the neighborhood. I can only tell you that a couple things in regards to this proposal, because it was floated originally as two families. The problem that, two families are great, there's nothing wrong with them. More often than not, they don't have the curb appeal, and more often than not, they end up becoming rentals. Townhouses, as we know, condos and townhouses end up being more home ownership, so you're gonna probably have more of an engaged neighbor that lives there, which will be really nice. And then from a quality of build standpoint, I know that Mr. Zapage, he's done some projects on Reservoir Ave, he's done a few in the city. He's very responsive, extremely, to the point where today I had reached out to him in regards to a neighborly concern in another part of the city, and he's extremely responsive. So I can only imagine, and I'm not going to speak for him, when this comes into zoning subcommittee, if you have a specific want when it comes to certain types of trees, certain types of landscaping, I'm pretty certain that he's going to want to do that. And when it comes to safety concerns, where you're the back neighbor and you want to make sure the site's enclosed and it's being buttoned up properly so that your child isn't affected and that he doesn't have access to the site to maybe get injured, he or she, I can only imagine that also will entail. So this will go to, I know Council President will mention this will go to zoning subcommittee, but your answers, your questions are going to be answered. hopefully they're answered favorably for you, because it's going to be on the fate of his eventual wanting, or Mr. Zepage's needs, and then we'll go from that point. But I'll give you my contacts before you leave tonight, so you can help with that, too.
Any
Okay?
other
Thank you.
councilors? Councilor Silvestri.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'd just like to add, as Councilor Keefe said, the developer is more than willing to work with you all. And I've had experience with him on several projects, and he's more than willing to meet and discuss, and he's more than fair with his agreements. And I just want to commend you all for coming here without a yes or a no, and being willing to talk and work things out, because that's what makes progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. All right, hearing and seeing no other comments, we're going to refer this to zoning. Thank you.
Next up is the Ways and Means Subcommittee report.
Councilor Rizzo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This evening, the Ways and Means Subcommittee met to discuss a loan order in the amount of $29.5 million for the acquisition of Wonderland property located at Butler Circle, across from the Wonderland Tea Station, for the purposes of a new high school. There was a lot of conversation about it. People voiced their opinions, and at the conclusion of the meeting, the subcommittee voted to report out a favorable recommendation. I don't particularly see any reason why we should hold this up if people have already made their minds up. So with that, I'm not going to belabor it, Mr. President. We had a lot of dialogue earlier. I would just ask that you put it to a full vote of the council.
Okay. That being said, Councilor Zambudo?
Yeah, I'd like to give a minority report, if that's okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Let me just say at the outset, I'm absolutely in favor of a new high school. I think history will show this was the wrong decision to take a piece of property off the tax roll. In my opinion, a terrible site for a high school. So I think that we're taking $1 billion off the tax roll over the 50-year life of a high school. I don't think the taxpayers, when they understand exactly what went on here, will look at this favorably. And I know there was a lot of back and forth, and I'm not going to get into any of that, but I don't think it's good practice to take property off the tax roll and build a school on it. We have a property we could have built it on, and so for that reason, I'm vehemently against this, and I hope history will prove me right. Thank you.
Before we vote, we did have a resident here that, hold on a second. Before we vote, we did have a resident here that wanted to speak, and if you can come up and voice your opinion.
Stephanie DeSisto, 7 Reservoir Avenue.
Yes.
Thank you. Maybe I should have come up during
That's
the
okay.
zoning subcommittee.
Yeah.
I have 3 quick points. First is perception is everything, but then there's the reality. And there are a lot of people out there that maybe you haven't heard from who are in my position, a senior on a fixed income who owns a home. This cost is being put on my back and on all of those backs. It's not being put on the backs of the parents who have kids in the school system who are not taxpayers. I would like to know if there's any statistic on how many parents in the Revere school system are non-home owners. We're throwing statistics around here. Secondly, you can tell me until the cows come home about what that property is good for, what it used to be used for, and how it can't be used for that again. But highest and best use in my mind and in the mind of a lot of people is to take a piece of property like that off the tax rolls and use it for a school makes 0 sense.
Thank you.
Thirdly is you can do a little bit of research, and it's not hard to find, about what happened in the city of Lynn when they closed down their Lynn Classical High School to build a new classical high school, And they built it on a site that had water problems, and it was a site of a former dump. Within 3 years, the whole building was collapsing and the pilings were sinking. So we don't want to have that happen and then have the litigation that came about because of that, the litigation costs because of the eminent domain process. I think this is a huge mistake that I'm going to be paying for. Thank you.
Thank you. With that being said, if there are no comments, we're going to take a roll call on this.
Mr. President, just a point of inquiry, through you to the clerk. Can a non-member of a committee make a minority report?
I guess that's. Yes.
Does that mean we can retract what he said?
You can never retract what I said. It's on the record.
With that being said.
And I'll be talking about it for years.
Let's take the roll call, please. Let's take the roll call.
Shall the City Council approve a loan order in the amount of $29,500,000 for the acquisition of the Wonderland property? Councilor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Keefe.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Morbido.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Powers.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Rizzo.
No.
No, Councilor Sereno is absent. Councilor Silvestri.
Yes.
Yes, Council President Zambudo.
No.
No, and Council President Visconti.
Yes.
Yes, the loan order has been approved. Sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
we have suspension of rules on reconsideration, hoping it does not prevail.
Suspension of rules. So, yes. So what?
Suspension of rules.
So-
Move that reconsideration not prevail.
On suspension on rules on
No, we already voted on
reconsideration?
that. This is on the
Rules on reconsideration?
reconsideration that it does not prevail.
prevail.
You need 2 votes on it.
Okay, we got a second. On reconsideration.
Reconsideration fails.
Thank you.
Back to regular order of business.
Thank you. Back to the regular order of business.
Calendar item number 13, communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Lorraine Greenfield to the Public Art Commission.
Mr. President?
Yes.
If I may, I've reviewed this. I'm not sure if other members of the subcommittee have, but I'd like to take a roll call on this tonight. It's for the Public Art Committee.
With that being,
If anyone objects, please, no.
okay, take a roll call.
Shall the city council confirm the appointment of Lorraine Greenfield to the Public Art Commission? Councilor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Keefe.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Morbido.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Powers. Yes, Councilor Rizzo. Yes, Councilor Sereno is absent. Councilor Silvestri. Yes, Councilor Zambudo.
Yes.
Yes, and Council President Visconti.
Yes.
Yes, the appointment has been approved, confirmed. Calendar item number 14, communication from the mayor relative to the memorandum of agreement between the City of Revere and Revere Public Works Department, AFS CME Council 93, the local 880. No.
Roll call.
Shall the City Council approve the appropriation necessary to fund the memorandum of agreement between the City of Revere and the Public Works Department, Local 880? Councilor Cogliandro.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Keefe.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor McKenna.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Morbido.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Novoselsky.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Powers.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Rizzo.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Sereno is absent. Councilor Silvestri.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Zambudo.
Yes.
Yes, and Council President Visconti.
Yes.
Yes, the appropriation has been approved. Calendar item number 15, motion presented by Councilor Keith.
See you later.
That the mayor request the chief of police to provide the city council with the police department's hiring and interviewing procedures in order to stay in line with attrition and expanded staffing needs.
Councilor Rizzo. Oh, Counselor Keefe, I'm sorry. Thought I had that checked up. My apologies.
No worry. Thank you, Mr. President. This isn't me trying to be smart. I did submit a motion just a while back in regards to just the staffing procedures and where we need to be, just somewhat of an update. I saw the chief tonight, so it was nice that he was able to speak to me. And I blatantly said, I would appreciate some form of a formal response, whether it's an email, a phone call, in regards to these concerns. I have all the faith in the world that everyone has the best intentions, but I talk to other department heads. Whenever we ask questions, I prefer to hear the answer of how we can do something rather than how we can't. I call them excuses. And, and I'm not saying that people have that, but it's sometimes a natural reaction. And often we talk about traffic, or we talk about speed control, and we talk about many different things we want throughout the city. I don't want to hear that manpower is the reason not to have what we want to have, whether it's the DPW, whether it's the police department, fire, whatever it may be. That's certainly not the answer that we want to hear and have. So I was just looking to see, given the understanding that there's a staffing shortage in the world out there for good people, what are we doing differently to make sure we have qualified hires, to make sure we have the right amount of police force? And I did get some good responses tonight, but ultimately I'm just looking to get more of an official response to the city council so that we can have that information for ourselves and for our constituents. Thank you.
Hearing and seeing none. All in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Thank you.
Calendar item number 16, motion presented by Councilor Rizzo, that the mayor provide a status report to Council Order 22-246 submitted on August 22nd as follows: that the City Council review the city's current hiring guidelines for chiefs of police, along with a review of the assessment center results that was completed in 2017. Further, that the mayor appear before the City Council in executive session to discuss his knowledge of prior and/or current allegations of misconduct against the current chief of police, and what actions and/or financial settlements have been made on behalf of the city as the result of these allegations. Additionally, that the mayor provide the City Council with an accounting of all financial settlements and explanations why they were made with the officers of the department, past and present, since 2017. Also, that the mayor provide the City Council with a list of any and all disciplinary actions taken against members of the Revere Police Department, including terminations and suspensions and reasons for them.
Councilor Rizzo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. At this point, I think I've been more than patient. This motion was submitted back in August, and here we are, we're almost in November. I did receive some correspondence from the city solicitor on September 14th that says that he wants the meeting to be changed to a future date, as the volume of information to my motion may take several hours to present. I think a couple of months is adequate time just to put together a motion on something so serious. And the reason I think it's so serious, Mr. President, is because I think there's a complete disparity between what's going on at the very top and what's going on with the rank and file members of that department. There's been several rank and file members of that department that have been terminated. Some of them have got their jobs back after going to court. Others have been paid settlements. This is all pretty common knowledge. And now the solicitor is saying, well, it's going to take time to put it together. And I think equally, Mr. President, what is really disturbing to me, none of this is ever brought to our attention. The reason I'm even looking at it right now is because on August 11th, WBUR, Public Radio, put out a story, both on the air and in writing. The headline is, "No Outsiders Need Apply, Why Revere Settled for a Police Chief Accused of Harassment."
I believe we went through that, right?
We did go through that, and we have got no correspondence back. This to me is a very serious issue. I don't know if you saw Channel 25 back on October 14th just had an issue with their chief in Brookline. Public knowledge, common knowledge. And yet I can't even get a response back to these pretty basic allegations. These are tax dollars. When settlements are made with employees, These aren't private funds. These are tax dollars. And so all this banter back and forth, well, what should be public, what should be executive session, what should be this? I mean, this needs to be discussed. There are some serious problems. We have outside media looking in through no solicitation of ours. None of us called up WBUR, but yet we got to read about it and then can't get answers about it after we read it. I think it's outrageous, Mr. President. I think this needs to come to a head at some point, and we need to get some answers as to what is going on, from top to bottom.
Agreed.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
Any other comments from anyone? I agree. In speaking with the mayor about this, they said they are working on it, and we'll be setting up a meeting for that. So I couldn't agree more. It was a motion that has been approved, and they should get moving on that. So all in favor, all opposed? So ordered.
Calendar item number 17, motion presented by Councilor McKenna that the City Council order the following amendment to the revised ordinances of the City of Revere to a public hearing. This is an ordinance amending the composition of the Public Art Commission, increasing the membership from 5 to no more than 7 members to minimum of 7 members to no more than 9 members.
Councilor McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an easy one. All I would like to do as the commissioner of the Public Arts Commission is to increase the membership to 3, so we can have 9 people on the commission instead of, right now we have 6. Well, 7, we just got a nomination. So it would be 2 more people, and that's what I would like to do, just change the ordinance to 9 instead of 7. Thank you.
We're going to refer this to a public hearing, if there are no questions, on November 28th at 6 p.m. And I believe we have a late communication?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a late communication and a late motion, so we'll take the late communication first.
Okay.
Communication from the mayor relative to a resolution to repurpose surplus Commonwealth property parallel to Route 1A.
Sure.
The resolution is as follows. Whereas Logan International Airport is of economic importance to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the New England region, and whereas the negative impacts from traffic, pollution, and congestion generally are concentrated in the nearby communities to Logan International Airport. And whereas the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, through its Department of Transportation, currently owns vacant property located along Route 1A that could be used to reduce pollution and traffic, improve public safety, and mitigate community impacts emanating from Logan International Airport and disproportionately harming the residents of the City of Revere. And whereas the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, having determined in 2017 that such land was surplus, and whereas the Massachusetts Department of Transportation has been undertaking a study for more than 1 year of how to use this vacant land, therefore be it resolved that a petition to the Governor of the Commonwealth and Secretary of Transportation of the Commonwealth be issued by the city to request, 1, the repurposing of the abandoned MassDOT property running parallel to Route 1A to provide direct and immediate benefit to the communities in closest proximity to Logan International Airport. 2, the creation of a Hull Road extension from the current end of the Coughlin bypass along the abandoned MassDOT property to connect initially to Route 1A at the Revere City at the Revere City line, and then ultimately to Bell Circle, thereby creating an alternative means for trucks, buses, and other commercial vehicles to access Logan Airport by avoiding Route 1A and neighborhood streets. 3, the creation of a pedestrian walkway and bike path along the waterfront to enable the communities of Revere, East Boston, and Chelsea to better experience the Chelsea Creek waterfront, which has been closed off to us for generations. 4, the construction of barriers, seawalls, and site grading that can be built as part of the transportation and pedestrian improvements, thereby furthering the protection of the City of Revere from sea level rise. And 5, the transformation of this unused and neglected piece of Commonwealth property, for the first time, provide direct benefit to the city of Revere and lighten the unending burdens placed on its citizens by Logan International Airport. And it's also noted that Councilor Zambudo is recused from discussion on this matter.
All right. Any comments on this? Councilor McKenna?
This was brought to my attention a couple of months ago. I think it's a wonderful idea. It's a no-brainer, and it will help the city with the traffic and get the trucks off the road, all the utility trucks and the big trucks, and I think it's great. I think it's a great motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Novoselsky?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this is MassDOT. I've been on that committee since they started it. And basically, the old railroad bed behind the freight companies along Route 1A, it's only going to be a one-way street going southbound, and it's going to begin at the jug handle at the Revere East Boston line. So it'll go right into the new lane along the railroad, along the bed going into East Boston. So it's a good deal, and we'll get the southbound traffic a little lighter anyways, we hope. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Silvestri?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to add that I completely in agreement with this. It's much needed, and one of the most congested throughways in the state will get some much needed relief. Thank you.
Okay, great. Council Powers?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm 100% in favor of this. Anything we can do to regulate traffic in the city to the best interest of the residents of the city, I support wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Roll call?
Shall the city council approve the resolution? Councilor Cogliandro?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Keefe? Yes. Councilor McKenna?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Morbido?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Novoselsky?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Powers?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Rizzo?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Serena was absent. Councilor Silvestri?
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Zambudo was recused, and Council President Visconti?
Yes.
Yes, the resolution has been adopted.
We have,
And
no, we
there's-
have
I'm
one
sorry,
more
there's one-
motion.
I'm sorry, there's one more late
more
motion
late
by
motion.
Councilor Rizzo, that the mayor be requested to ensure that residents are informed at least 48 hours in advance of work being done by National Water Main Cleaning Company, including the relining of sewer pipes using their cured-in-place pipe method. Methods of communication should include Revere's 311 website, social media, reverse 911, to inform the impacted neighborhoods and residents.
Councilor Rizzo?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'll just be very brief. I don't know if any of the other councilors have experienced this, but National Water Main Cleaning Company's coming around, and they're doing the work that they, relining the sewer lines. But they're giving people, first of all, they're giving people 24-hour notices. I mean, they tape these little things to your door, so if you're, depending upon if you use the door or not, you might know that the next day you can't use your water because of the work being done. They're only giving 24-hour notice. And in my case, my neighborhood, they canceled 2 or 3 different times. So people that, have to go to work in the morning, they have to get up before 7 a.m., get themselves ready for work because they can't use water between 7 and 5, and then lo and behold, they come back and they get a notice on their door saying, oh, sorry, we're going to do it tomorrow. And they just keep pushing it on, and in my case, it was 3 times. So I think that if they're going to be doing the work, they need to give the residents of the neighborhoods a little more heads up, to know that they're going to be there so they can plan accordingly. Not everybody wants to be showered and dressed by 6:30 in the morning. Some people may get a little later start. Some people may be retired, and they don't, and the consequence of not knowing about this or following it is sewer in your basement. So who wants that? I mean, we're trying to get away from that. So I'm just hopeful we can give more advance notice. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Councilor Cogliandro?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say I agree with this wholeheartedly. This is another company in our city that's not being very good to it. They're also leaving equipment there. The work that they're doing, with the subcontractors are doing, it's just ridiculous. We need more notice. We need better quality work, and I'm 100% in agreement. Thank you.
Councilor McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. President. I know everybody wants to go home, but I think they should get penalized for that. I think if they're going to say they're going to do the work, I think this is an excellent motion, Councilor Rizzo, because it just adds to what's going on in the city. But I think they should be penalized, and I just wanted to say that when National Grid came into Winthrop Ave, they didn't give any notice. They just shut down the street, and Nick Ricem didn't even know that they were coming in, and he punished them by not letting them work the next day. So maybe there should be a penalty. If people say, if they're gonna say, we're gonna start, sorry, President, I love you. If they said they're gonna start and they're gonna do it that day, then they should do it that day. And if they don't, they should get penalized.
In the meantime, you come up with the penalty.
Okay.
All right? All right. All in favor, all opposed on the motion? So ordered. And the meeting is adjourned for the next meeting. Next meeting is November 14th. Thank you. And happy Halloween, everyone.